Hey boys and girls, we are going to continue reading Spacemice. We are on the chapter, I'm Not a Warrior, I'm Not. That's how I ended up in a luxury space apartment, one with bars on the windows and doors. I huddled on my bed, shaking like a space quack. Oh, for a million moons, how am I supposed to duel a giant monster? I'm not a warrior. I'm a space captain who would rather be a full-time writer. I wailed. All I could think about was the horrible slurp monster who would surely reduce me to space dust in an astrosecond. Suddenly, I heard a voice from the window. Geronimo, we're here. I turned and saw Thea and Benjamin, Bugsy, Sally, and Robotics. I jumped. How great to see you, I exclaimed, relief washing over me. How did you find me? It wasn't easy, Thea replied. After all the dancing, the cheese fix fell into a deep sleep. The whole city is snoring, including the king, Sally continued, so it was simple to follow the guards without being noticed. And we found a way to help you, Uncle, Benjamin answered. I brightened up. Really? You can get me out? Well, not exactly, Thea replied, her voice trailing off. Sally nodded. Actually, Captain, we don't have the technology to deactivate the laser bars in your cell. So then how are you going to help me? I asked in a tiny voice. Benjamin pulled a small gadget from his pocket. It looked like a piece of cheese. He passed it to me through the bars. We can help you defeat the monster, he said. I turned as pale as mozzarella. We contacted the Mouse Star 1. What is it? It's a flash drive. Benjamin went on. Hologramics gathered all the known data on the slurp monster and put it in the flash drive for you. If you connect it to your wrist computer, you can see all the information. Bugsy nodded. We discovered that the monster has a few weaknesses, she said. You can study them as you prepare for the duel. I couldn't believe it, but I'm not a warrior, I said. What good will it do to me to know my monster's weakness if I faint as soon as I see him? You have no choice, Thea said. I sighed. All right, I promise I will do my best. I needed to get to work. I didn't have much time to learn all the secrets of the slurp monster. Next chapter, the power of tickling. Thea and the others left, and I inserted the flash drive into my wrist computer. Rays of light shot from the watch and quickly began to take shape. Blinking, I watched as two rodents who I knew very well appeared before me. Professor Greenfur? Grandfather, what are you doing here? I asked. I knew you would fall for it. Like a cheesehead, grandson? Grandfather William replied in a booming voice. We're not real. What you are seeing is a three-dimensional image of us projected from your wrist computer. I reached out to touch them, but my paw passed right through them as though they were cosmic clouds. They were holograms, just like the hologramics in the back on the ship. I'm confused, I said. I thought the flash drive contained data about Slurp the monster, not you. We've got the data for you, Grandfather replied. Thea tells me that you're afraid to duel this monster. Is that right? Well, basically, I began. You're as soft as cream cheese, Grandfather barked. You need to buck up and act like a hard cheese, like a sharp cheddar. So you want me to act like cheese? I asked, confused. At that point, an image of the slurp monster projected from my wrist. Professor Greenfur began to speak. As you can see, the slurp monster has 6 arms and 1 big eye, he began. I gulped. And an enormous mouth. Look at him. They are very rare creatures, Professor Greenford continued. In fact, only 1 or 2 can be found in each galaxy. Despite their terrible appearance, they are not as tough as they look. They have a major weak spot. Now I was curious. What was their weak spot? They are extremely ticklish, the professor replied. Cosmic cheddar, those beasts were ticklish? I couldn't believe it. There's one way to defeat this monster, Professor Greenford went on. Allow the creature to grab you. Just before you are swallowed up, tickle it with a feather. Did you say I should grab it and let it grab me? I asked nervously, but the professor ignored me. Look at him. Let it grab me, then tickle it with a feather? What? Next chapter, snore, rumble. The next morning, King Spheris and a group of guards came to get me. Cheese Master, did you sleep well? The big king asked. Are you ready for the big duel with the slurp monster? I actually tossed and turned all night, I replied. I was too afraid to sleep. The king bursted out laughing. Ha! That's a good one. I like a hero with a sense of humor. I knew there was nothing I could say to convince him that I was not a hero, so I didn't say anything. The guards let me out of my cell and brought me to a small space shuttle. We departed for the other side of the planet where the monster lived. During the trip, I looked out the window and saw that a space shuttle from the Mouse Star 1 was following us. I kept my mouth shut because I knew that my friends were behind me. That gave me just a little bit of courage. When we landed, the ground began to shake. Just what we need, a space quake, I said. That's not a space quake, Cheese Master, King Sphere said, amused. It's just the slurp monster snoring. His snores are so strong they make the ground rumble. Shooting stars! The slurp monster was bigger than I realized. I thought maybe I could use the situation to my advantage. If the monster is snoring so hard, maybe this isn't the best time to wake him, I suggested. We might just make him angry. The slurp monster is always angry, King Sphere said. Look, he's snoring, rumbling, snoring, they're heading over there. Anyway, I have a trick that can help you defeat this monster. A trick? I asked, hopeful. Well, that changes everything. What is it? King Spheres frowned. You're pretty impatient for a hero, Cheese Master. I'll tell you when the time is ready. I sighed. The king just didn't get it. I wasn't impatient. I was frightened out of my fur. That's the end for today. Tomorrow we'll read A Rude Awakening.